Back on ABC 24 this week talking about the 3G school agreement with my panel, and I want to start with Mayor Harris on this one. You've taken some heat on how this news was disseminated. Some fellow county commissioners are upset that they learned about it through the news media. I have seen you quoted that once you had the framework in place, you thought it was time to at least get the public on board and let them know right away. Would you have done things any differently in how commissioners were informed about this decision?
Not the way the commissioners have talked about it, no, absolutely not. We had to make an agreement among four parties. That's terribly complex to do. And as soon as those four parties agreed to get the information out to the public, it was incumbent upon all of us to get that information out to the public. There's no place to hide that information. And so if I had to do it over again, we would have reached agreement around the public dissemination of the information even sooner, released it even earlier. But the dissemination of the information had nothing to do with commissioners. It had to do with the public interest in this matter and making sure the public was fully informed. So the second we had the agreement of all four, obviously we sent out a joint statement on behalf of all four groups who were parties to the negotiation. It's got nothing to do with commissioners. They are important parts of the public, but everybody deserves to know what's going on with taxpayer money, what's going on with education, and what's going on with $100 million on the table.
How did you decide which commissioners to involve in the conversation before the announcement was made and which ones not to?
Everything was a function of the chairman, Chairman Lowry. Chairman Lowry decided all of those things. So.
A mic problem? Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, just
go ahead.
Constant communication with.
I thought the Lord was.
So throughout the duration of this process on the part of Shelby County government, I don't know if I'm. Throughout pardon me, I'm not sure if that's echoing everywhere. The point is we were in constant communication with the chairman of the county commission, and the chairman of the county commission made every decision in harness with me around what commissioners knew what at what moment, and we were intimately involved with at least four commissioners from the start of this process.
Otis, did you have a follow-up?
Well, yeah, and it's really a follow-up to that question because now you're going to depend on a lot of municipal bodies or government bodies to actually sign off on this with votes, and that starts tomorrow. Are you worried? Are either one of you worried that because of the fact that they were not involved, or as many of them were involved, that they might slow this process down and we might not have everybody on board by that deadline, which I think is January 1, right?
It is, and if I could, I would just tell you and the community that leading is not easy, and Mayor Harris is taking this upon himself to help lead this county, and gathering all four of these organizations together and then wrangling aldermen and county commissioners and school board members. That's difficult work, and we were up against a deadline, and if it weren't for Mayor Harris leading the charge in mediation, we wouldn't be to where we are today. Now, I'm fully confident that my board is going to be supportive on Monday. This is too good of an opportunity for everyone to pass on it because, like I mentioned earlier, too many multiple constituencies are being satisfied.
Okay, you agree with that from the county commission standpoint? I know you can't speak for them.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak for commissioners, but in my experience, this is different maybe from yours, in my experience, end of the day, people are going to focus on the needs of this community, and I think we get a lot of things that slide into place that help advance the needs of this community in this agreement.
Okay.
Let me just reiterate the point about repurposing existing commercial space. It provides an opportunity to save millions of dollars and to do what the state is legally obligated to do, which is not to build school buildings, but to educate the children. And I think that can give you and the school leadership a very, very nice horse to ride as you jockey over the next several meetings.
Yeah.
Now, there might be parents, Reverend Whalen, who are saying, I don't want my kid going to school next to a Home Depot just because you got some commercial real estate that's available.
Out of 1,000 available spaces, there are plenty of them that are not next door to a Home Depot.
Okay.
I promise.
And I don't mean to pick on Home Depot, because I'm sure it would be a wonderful neighbor and very supportive of the children. But okay. I wanted to ask about the what might be in the works or not in the works when it comes to the property that Germantown High School sits on. We've been hearing that Methodist is very interested, Methodist Healthcare is very interested in that property, and we also are hearing that it's in Germantown's interest to probably make some moves on this before January 1st, when it might have to, those schools might have to be used for educational purposes. Can you tell us where things stand there?
Well, and Richard, we want to stay within the framework of the statute that was passed in May. and the statute states that those buildings would be used for educational purposes. We will eventually, our school district and our city, our community as a whole, will have control of Germantown Elementary and Middle School. We think that we'll have growth 20 years from now. And being a strategic-minded community, we would like to keep those properties. Now, they may be raised and something new built there, but we intend to use them for educational purposes. All 3 properties are zoned R, so traditional residential, single-family housing. And so anyone who wants to go to the market and purchase Germantown High School, because we mentioned earlier that will be part of the ability to get to $100 million, there would be a zoning request eventually. And we have vetting in our community that requires that. But it's in Old Germantown. It's currently being used as an institutional usage, a school. It's not zoned institutional, but that's what it's intended for. So there's a lot of opportunity on that property for the market to dictate what it might become, and then our city regulatory body will have to decide what zoning's appropriate.
Methodist is on record as saying they are interested in the Germantown High property. Are you aware of any other developers that are out there?
No, but there's very little amount of land left in Germantown that's developable, and so I would think that this would be highly marketable.
Okay, we'll leave it there. When we come back, we'll finish up our conversation on the 3G schools and the apparent agreement that has been reached right after this.